In the following series of videos, I'd like to teach you how to talk about your daily routine. En esta serie de videos, me gustaría enseñaros cómo hablar de su rutina diaria. So in this first video, I'm just going to make a brief introduction about how to reference time, and then I'll teach you some vocabulary words and some new verbs that are usually connected to your first part of the day. So from the moment that you wake up until basically you get away from home. So all the things that you do in the morning before you depart to work, school, or wherever you tend to go. So you will have some useful vocabulary verbs highlighted in green, and then you will have example sentences, or basically just the verbs conjugated into first person. Since you will be talking about your daily routine in the first person, everything will be conjugated in the first person. Yeah, so I think we can get started with the first one, which is despertarse. Despertarse means to wake up. And you see that it is a reflexive verb. It has the SE ending at the end. And you'll be seeing this with a lot of verbs in these daily routine videos, because most of the things that you do in the morning, you actually do with yourself. So you wake up, you get up, you wash yourself, you brush your teeth. So a lot of verbs will be having this SE reflexive ending. And so if you want to say I wake up at a certain hour, you say me despierto a las. So you just can fill a number right here to specify the hour. And you can also say, for example, a las 8 de la mañana, which means at 8 o'clock in the morning. So, and of course you can use this time reference not only with waking up, but with any other verb or in any other sentence that you'd like to. And it's always this sort of format. So a las, and you put in the number. And if you want to specify it further, you can say de la, and you put in the part of the day. And we've covered the parts of the day in the greetings. I'll just make a quick recap of them. So if you want to say in the morning, you say de la mañana or en la mañana, but in this case we use de la mañana as the preposition. If you want to say evening or afternoon, you say de la tarde. And if you want to say at night, you say de la noche. So mañana, tarde, noche. And of course, this part can be a bit tricky, especially when you're specifying the hour in which you're doing things, because you don't always do things at a certain particular hour, like 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock or a particular number. And in English, you can say things like 8:30 or 11:20. So you just basically say two numbers next to each other, and everyone knows what you mean. So this is the time reference. But in Spanish, you can't really say that. You don't say 8:30. I mean, maybe in some spoken language, if people know what you're talking about, but it's not really the norm. The way that these sort of times work in Spanish is very similar to what mostly is used in Britain with time reference. So it's something like 8:30 or 6:45. And we won't be covering that into a lot of detail today. I'll just teach you that to say 8:30 or something 30 or 8:30 something is that you say the number. So for example, in this case, 8, and then you say y media. And media actually means half of something. And 30, of course, since 1 hour has 60 minutes, so 30 minutes are half of an hour. So if you want to say 8:30 or 7:30 or anything 30, you say the number of the hour, which is here, and then you say y media, which specifies that you're in the middle towards the next hour. So when you wake up at, let's say, 6:30, you can say me despierto a las 6:30 de la mañana, which means I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. Okay, so we've got this. So you can already give time reference with whole hours and with half hours, and we'll definitely cover some other specific times in the future. But I think this is enough for the purpose of this unit. So to wake up is despertarse, and I wake up me despierto. But you also have a different verb which is very similar, but it expresses something slightly different, and it is levantarse, and it means to get up. So actually to get up from your bed, stand up on your feet. The first person of that is me levanto. So you can see that the reflexive part always, if you have the verb in a sentence, or most of the time if you have it in a sentence, the reflexive part comes before the verb, and then you conjugate it just as you would conjugate a normal verb. So this is basically, you also have two different verbs for this in English. Despertarse is to wake up, levantarse is to get up. So you can wake up and then you can stay in bed for a couple minutes and just then you get up actually. And then usually once you wake up and get up, you wash yourself or wash your face, which means lavarse la cara. Again, this is reflexive, so you say me lavo la cara, which means I wash my face, or you can just say me lavo, which means I wash myself. You don't really have to specify the part of the body part. And then after you wash yourself, you can, for example, eat. You can eat breakfast. And to eat breakfast can be expressed in two different ways in Spanish. They have basically one verb or one word that says to eat breakfast, and then they say eat breakfast, just the way it functions in English. So to eat breakfast, one way is desayunar or comer desayuno. Comer desayuno is basically the word-by-word translation of eat breakfast. Comer means to eat, desayuno means breakfast. But if you want to say it with one word, you say desayunar. So in the first person, that would be desayuno or como desayuno, and you can again add the time reference. So for example, me despierto a las 8 y desayuno a las 8:30. Okay, so we had half an hour of time pass between these two steps because I woke up at 8, I ate breakfast at 8:30. And just to kind of broaden your vocabulary with some perhaps more interesting words, I have a couple of things, foods that you can eat for breakfast. Some of the probably most popular ones, so we can take a look at them. Some people eat fruit for breakfast, so you can say desayuno frutas. And you don't really need an article before this, because it's pretty general, so you can say desayuno frutas, which means I eat fruit. Just the way in English you don't say I eat the fruits, because it's a general reference to a certain food. Then you can say, or you can eat milk with cereals, so that's cereales con leche, desayuno cereales con leche. Then you can have some coffee with some biscuits, which is café con galletas. You can have an egg omelette, tortilla de huevos. Huevos are eggs. Tortilla is basically just, it is a reference to the shape of the eggs if they're in an omelette shape. Or you can have pan con jamón, which is bread with ham. Or you can just say no desayuno, which means I don't eat breakfast. You can even state a reason, right? Like for example, porque normalmente no tengo hambre por la mañana, which means because normally I'm not hungry in the morning. Okay, so you can eat all these things, or you can say no desayuno, either with stating the reason or without. Okay, so after you've woke up, got up, washed your face, and ate breakfast, you can do some other cosmetic things like peinarse, which means to brush your hair. Maquillarse, this is for women mostly, so to put makeup on yourself. Vestirse, which means to dress up. Or ducharse, which means to take a shower. Of course, these should probably be swapped with, because you don't usually wash or take showers while you're dressed. But anyways, if you want to put these all into the third person, you can see they're all reflexive, so don't forget to put the reflexive part there. So me peino, I brush myself or my hair. Me maquillo, I put makeup on myself. Me visto, I get dressed up. Me ducho, I take a shower. And then lastly, you can, for example, brush your teeth. So in Spanish, you say cepillarse los dientes, and in the first person, me cepillo los dientes. So los dientes are teeth, cepillar means to brush. Okay, so we've got the morning routine covered, and I'll just run through the verbs very quickly, and then you can move on to the second part, which will be covered in the next video. Despertarse, to wake up. Levantarse, to get up. Lavarse, to wash yourself. Desayunar, to eat breakfast, or comer desayuno. Peinarse, brush your hair. Maquillarse, put makeup on yourself. Vestirse, dress up. Ducharse, take a shower. Cepillarse, to brush. For example, los dientes, your teeth.